When you think of America's biggest tourist destinations, you probably imagine places like New York City, Las Vegas, or Orlando. Huge cities, massive crowds, famous landmarks. But here's something surprising. Some of the most visited destinations in the entire country are actually tiny towns. We're talking about places with populations of just a few thousand people, sometimes even less, that somehow attract millions of visitors every single year. These towns might look quiet on the surface, a charming main street, a peaceful harbor, a small mountain village. But behind that small town charm is something incredible, huge tourism numbers that rival major cities. Some are gateways to famous national parks. Others are known for stunning landscapes, historic streets, or unique cultural attractions. Either way, these little towns have become massive travel magnets. Today, we're counting down 5 tiny U.S. towns that secretly attract millions of tourists every year. And trust me, the town at number 1 might surprise you. But first, let's start with a desert town where towering red rock cliffs draw millions of travelers from around the world.
Number 5. Sedona, Arizona. At first glance, Sedona looks like a peaceful desert town. Quiet streets, small shops, a population of just about 10,000 residents. But what makes Sedona extraordinary is the landscape surrounding it. Massive red sandstone formations rise dramatically from the desert floor, creating one of the most recognizable natural landscapes in the United States. Over millions of years, wind and erosion carved these cliffs, arches, and spires into shapes that now attract travelers from all over the world. And once word spread about how incredible the scenery was, visitors started pouring in. Today, Sedona has become one of the most popular travel destinations in the entire Southwest. For a town with only 10,000 residents, Sedona somehow manages to host what feels like half the hiking population of America on a nice weekend. Here's what defines Sedona. Visitors per year, about 3 million. Location, northern Arizona, south of Flagstaff. Known for red rock formations, hiking trails, and scenic drives. Major attractions, Cathedral Rock, Bell Rock, and Oak Creek Canyon. Beyond the scenery, Sedona has also developed a reputation for something a little unusual. Many visitors come searching for what are called energy vortexes, specific locations where people believe the Earth's natural energy is especially strong. Whether you believe in that or not, one thing is certain: the views alone are enough to make the trip worthwhile. A Reddit traveler once wrote, "Sedona looks like another planet. Pictures don't even come close to how dramatic it feels in person." Imagine arriving just before sunset. The desert air cools as the sun drops toward the horizon. Suddenly, the entire landscape turns bright red and orange as the cliffs reflect the fading light. It's quiet, it's massive, and it feels almost otherworldly. That combination of natural beauty and small-town charm is exactly why millions of visitors show up here every year. But the next town on our list? It's almost the complete opposite of Sedona. Instead of red desert cliffs, you'll find rocky Atlantic coastlines, fresh ocean air, and a tiny harbor town that welcomes millions of visitors as the gateway to one of America's most beautiful national parks. Number 4. Bar Harbor, Maine. Bar Harbor might look like a peaceful coastal village, but every year millions of people arrive here. Located on Mount Desert Island along the coast of Maine, Bar Harbor is the main gateway to Acadia National Park, one of the most visited national parks in the United States. And that single connection changes everything. Because while the town itself only has a population of about 5,500 residents, the surrounding park draws visitors from across the country and around the world. Suddenly, this quiet harbor town becomes a major tourism hub. For a place with just a few thousand locals, Bar Harbor somehow manages to handle crowds that feel closer to a small city during peak summer season. Here's what defines Bar Harbor. Visitors per year, over 4 million. Location, coastal Maine on Mount Desert Island. Main attraction, Acadia National Park. Known for rocky coastlines, scenic drives, and whale watching, Acadia National Park surrounds much of the island, offering dramatic coastal cliffs, forested mountains, and one of the most famous scenic drives in the country, the Park Loop Road. Visitors also come to experience something special here. From the summit of Cadillac Mountain, you can be among the first people in the United States to see the sunrise during certain times of the year. A Reddit traveler once wrote, "Bar Harbor feels like the perfect base camp for exploring Acadia. Small-town charm with some of the best scenery on the East Coast. Picture a cool summer morning along the harbor. Fishing boats leave the docks, fresh ocean air moves through the streets, and just a few miles away, forest trails climb toward breathtaking views of the Atlantic. It's peaceful, scenic, and surprisingly lively for such a small place. That combination is exactly why Bar Harbor attracts millions of visitors every year. But the next town on our list takes things to an entirely different level, because while Bar Harbor welcomes millions of tourists, the next town hosts more than 14 million visitors a year, all in a place with barely 4,000 residents. Number 3. Gatlinburg, Tennessee. At first glance, Gatlinburg looks like a small mountain town tucked into the Tennessee hills. Population? Only about 4,000 residents. But what makes Gatlinburg extraordinary is where it sits. The town lies right at the entrance to Great Smoky Mountains National Park, the most visited national park in the entire United States. And because of that location, Gatlinburg has become one of the busiest tourism towns in the country. Millions of people pass through every year on their way to explore the Smokies. For a town with just a few thousand locals, Gatlinburg somehow manages to host crowds that make it feel like a mountain version of Times Square during peak vacation season. Here's what defines Gatlinburg. Visitors per year, around 14 million. Location, eastern Tennessee at the edge of the Smoky Mountains. Main attraction, Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Known for mountain views, scenic drives, and tourist entertainment. The Great Smoky Mountains are famous for their rolling blue ridges, dense forests, waterfalls, and incredible wildlife. With hundreds of miles of hiking trails and scenic roads, it's easy to see why so many visitors come here. But Gatlinburg itself has also grown into a major destination. The town's main street is packed with attractions, observation towers, mountain coasters, arcades, restaurants, and family-friendly entertainment. A Reddit traveler once joked, "Gatlinburg feels like a theme park town sitting right next to one of the most beautiful national parks in America." Imagine standing on a scenic overlook above Gatlinburg. Below you, Gatlinburg's bright lights glow against the dark mountain forest. Above you, the Smoky Mountains stretch endlessly across the horizon. It's a unique combination. Wild natural beauty mixed with non-stop tourist energy. And that's exactly why millions of travelers keep coming back year after year. But the next town on our list trades mountain views for something completely different. An island town where palm trees sway, pastel houses line the streets, and the road literally ends at the southernmost point of the continental United States. Number 2. Key West, Florida. At the very southern edge of the continental United States sits one of the most unique towns in the country, Key West. It's the last stop on the Overseas Highway, a scenic road that stretches across a chain of tropical islands known as the Florida Keys. By the time you reach the end of that road, you arrive in a small island town with a population of just around 26,000 residents. But every year, millions of travelers make that same journey. Some come for the beaches, others come for the sunsets, and many simply want to say they've reached the southernmost point of the United States. For such a small island, Key West somehow manages to host crowds that make it feel like the entire country decided to take a vacation at the same time. Here's what defines Key West. Visitors per year, around 5 million. Location, southern tip of Florida, about 90 miles from Cuba. Famous landmark, the southernmost point buoy. Known for colorful architecture, tropical beaches, and legendary sunsets. The town's historic district, known as Old Town, is filled with pastel-colored homes, narrow streets, and lively cafes. Many buildings date back more than a century, giving the area a laid-back island character that feels completely different from most American cities. And every evening, crowds gather at Mallory Square to watch one of the town's most famous traditions, the Sunset Celebration. A Reddit traveler once wrote, "Key West feels like a tiny Caribbean city that somehow ended up inside the United States." Imagine standing along the waterfront just before sunset. The sky turns orange and pink over the ocean. Street performers entertain crowds near the harbor, and sailboats drift slowly across the horizon. It's warm, colorful, and full of life. That tropical atmosphere, combined with its unique location, is exactly why millions of travelers keep visiting this tiny island town year after year. But the town taking the #1 spot on this list? You might think you've somehow landed in Europe instead of the United States. Number 1. Leavenworth, Washington. At first glance, Leavenworth looks like a tiny European village hidden in the mountains. Wooden balconies, colorful murals, Alpine-style buildings that feel straight out of Germany. But this charming town isn't in Europe. It's in Washington state, tucked into the Cascade Mountains about 2 hours east of Seattle. And with a population of only about 2,400 residents, Leavenworth might seem like just another quiet mountain town. But appearances can be deceiving, because every year, millions of visitors travel here to experience something completely unique. For a town with barely a few thousand people, Leavenworth somehow manages to host crowds that make it feel like a full-scale European festival half the year. Here's what defines Leavenworth. Visitors per year? Over 2 million. Location, Cascade Mountains in Washington state. Known for Bavarian-style architecture and festivals. Major events, Oktoberfest, Christmas lighting festival, and seasonal celebrations. Nearly every building was redesigned with Alpine architecture, turning Leavenworth into something that feels like a little slice of Europe in the Pacific Northwest. And it worked. Today, the town attracts visitors year-round, from summer festivals and river rafting to one of the most famous Christmas celebrations in America. A Reddit traveler once said, "Leavenworth feels like someone picked up a Bavarian village and dropped it in the mountains of Washington." Picture arriving here during winter. Snow blankets the rooftops, thousands of Christmas lights glow across the town square, and the entire village feels like a real-life holiday postcard. Or visit in summer, when flower baskets hang from every balcony and the mountains create a breathtaking backdrop. Either way, Leavenworth proves something surprising. A town with fewer than 3,000 residents can still attract millions of visitors when it offers something truly unforgettable. And that's exactly why it takes the #1 spot on this list.